Abdullah ibn Mubarak was born in the year 118 after Hijrah. That was far from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He did not meet the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he was not an Arab man. He's a non-Arab. He's originally from Persia. But his father accepted Islam, and then Abdullah ibn Mubarak was born as a Muslim. Even the story of his father gives us the idea that he's born from a great family. His father used to work in the garden of a man, a Turkish man. Okay, so the man told him one day, get me from this sweet fruit. So he went, picked up the fruit, and the guy, when he tasted it, he found that it's a sour one, not sweet. So he said, you don't know the difference between sweet and sour? Go get me a sweet one, not a sour one. Because some of this fruit are, some types are sour and sometimes are what? Sweet, the same one. So he went, he picked from another tree and washed it and gave it to him. He found it also sour. He said, you don't have mind? You're telling me that you never tasted it and you don't know which tree is sour, which tree is sweet? He said, I never tasted it. You never give me permission to do that. So the man said, are you saying the truth? He said, yes, I'm saying the truth. He asked the other workers, is he saying the truth? Did he ever taste my fruit? They said, no. He said, what kind of man you are? You know, that's amazing. Usually when you work in something like this, you work as a chef or as a cook, cooking, you always taste the food and eat from it, you know. It's okay. And if you work in a big garden or a big farm, you always eat from it. It's fine. You know, even if the man didn't tell you, Abdullah ibn Mubarak, ibn Mubarak, al-Mubarak, the father of Abdullah. That we're talking about al-Mubarak, the father of Abdullah. That was his father who was doing that. He never. So the man liked, his honesty and how sincere he is. He said, okay, Jazakallah khair. I allow you to eat anytime. But he asked him a question. He said, I have my daughter. A lot of people wanted to get married to her. And they're rich and everything, but I don't feel comfortable to them. Give me an advice. Who's the one that I should, let him get married to my daughter? He said, look, the people of Jahiliyyah, the time before Islam, they used to accept the man who was coming from big family, big name. They take him right away as a husband. The Jewish people will take the richest man. They look for the money. The Christian people, they look for the beauty, the beautiful man. The Muslim, they look for the religion, the religious man. If the man is religious, they let him get married. So he liked. He went right away to his wife and his daughter and he discussed with them. He said, I'm thinking about getting my daughter married to this man. He's a worker in his garden. They accepted it. And he got him married to his daughter. Because he's so religious and so wise. They got Abdullah ibn Mubarak. Abdullah ibn Mubarak is their son. He's from a good family. Very, very religious and honest family.
That's similar to the son of Umar who married a milkmaid.
Yes, awesome. Yes. So Abdullah ibn Mubarak was raised in a good family, as you see. And from young age, he started to seek the knowledge, to learn. Go to the big imams of knowledge at the time of hadith and fiqh and all the religious sciences to learn from them. They said that he went to Sufyan al-Thawri and he learned fiqh from him. And he went to Imam Malik and he learned the book of al-Muwatta from him. And he went to Layth ibn Sa'd, learned his fiqh as well. And Shu'bah and Al-A'mash, Al-Awza'i, all those are big imams of hadith. He learned from them and others until he became a great scholar himself. So even when I was looking for the books of Ibn Mubarak before I come and give this lecture, some of his books are still in print in our modern time. His book of hadith, the Musnad Abdullah ibn Mubarak, still there, they printed it. And his book of Zuhd, Zuhd is like, teaching the people how to be righteous and not to run after the dunya and the money. Taqwa. And his book of Jihad fi Sabilillah, book about the hadith and the ayat talking about the jihad and explaining them. So Abdullah ibn Mubarak also became a teacher for the big imams who came after him, like Sufyan ibn Uyayna, Yahya ibn Ma'in, ibn Abi Shayba, Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Qattan. Those are big imams of fiqh and hadith as well.
They were
Students of Abdullah ibn Mubarak, yes. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, they say a good situation about him. In his time, there was a famous imam of hadith. His name is Hamad ibn Zayd. You know, they asked Hamad ibn Zayd one day to request Abdullah ibn Mubarak to tell them the Sarah hadith. So the students of Hamad ibn Zayd said, how come your friend Abdullah ibn Mubarak don't tell the hadith to the people? He's too humble. And they say, go to Hamad, go to the other big imams of hadith, and he's a big imam himself. So please ask him to teach us some hadith. So he came to him and said, Ya Abu Abdurrahman, please, the students want to learn hadith from you. Say, me, you are here. You are the sheikh and you are the imam. He said, no, please, do it for me. He begged him. So he said, okay. And he started to give them the hadith with the narrations and everything. They learned a lot from him. You see? So he was a big imam of hadith also. And they say that when the people fight about one hadith, they don't know if it's authentic or weak or right or wrong or have some dispute about it, they say, let us go to the doctor of the hadith. That's Abdullah ibn Mubarak. That's the only one who's going to solve it out for us. So they go to him. And even one man is saying about his fiqh, said he learned from Malik and Abu Hanifa and other imams, their fiqh, but he was an imam himself. He was independent faqih. He does not just copy them or taqleed, just follow them, but he will do his tools of fiqh to get reasoning to get to the. And he said, whenever I find a difficult problem of fiqh, I look for it first in the books of Abdullah ibn Mubarak. If I found it, that's fine. If I didn't find it there, then I say to myself, no way I'm going to find it anywhere else. If Abdullah ibn Mubarak didn't say it, then it's not there. Forget about it. See, he trusted him that far. And subhanallah. And another imam is saying, the big imams, in my opinion, are of fiqh. Sufyan al-Thawri, and Imam Malik ibn Anas, and Hamad ibn Zayd, and Abdullah ibn Mubarak. It no mention the other ones that we know. Subhanallah. Yes. And another Imam is saying that Allah Azza wa Jal, his name Ibrahim ibn Shammas, he said, Allah Azza wa Jal favored me that I have seen the most knowledgeable one of fiqh in my time, and the most righteous man, and the most man who has a sharp memory in my time. They asked him, who are those people? He said, the most knowledgeable man of fiqh is Abdullah ibn Mubarak, the one we're talking about. The most righteous man is Al-Fudayl ibn Iyad, his friend, the friend of Abdullah ibn Mubarak. And the one who has a very, very sharp memory is Imam Waki' ibn Jarrah. This is the Sheikh of Imam Shafi'i. Shafi'i went to him one time and he said, how come that you have a very sharp memory? I want to have that good memory like you. He said, I give you one advice. Stay away from the sins, your memory will be sharp. Subhanallah. And he said some lines of poetry that became so famous. I complained to Waqiya about my bad memory, and he guided me to abandon the bad deed and the sins. And he told me that knowledge is light, and the light of Allah is not going to be given to a sinner. See, subhanallah. Stay away from the sins. And actually, when you look at the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمْ Allah. Have righteousness and fear of Allah. Allah Azza wa Jalla will give you the knowledge. See how Allah connects two of them together. You have the fear of Allah and the righteousness to Allah. Allah gives you the knowledge. And they say about him that he was a great worshipper to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he used to hide it from the people as much as he can. They say that sometimes some of his friends, those who are really close to him and know him, say that sometimes he will be in the company of some people in a traveling or something. He will feed them the best food and the best dessert, and he himself is fasting, and he don't know. He said, I'm going to eat later, just eat now, this and that. You see, and he's acting like I ate before. I just was, eating a while ago, but he's hiding it from them that he's fasting. And they say also that in Hajj, in the journey of Hajj, he did Hajj with his own people of village or city. And in the way to Hajj, before they started, he said, give me the money that you have, put it here. And he put a sheet or a cover to cover it. Say, put it under the cover so that nobody knows how much the other ones bought. So everybody bought 10, 20, 30, little money. He took the money, he said, because I'm going to be your prince in Hajj. I will be responsible for food and housing and everything. Don't worry. And he give them the best food, and he buy clothing for them, and he says to everybody, what you want to buy for your family from Mecca and Medina before you go? They ask him this and that. He buys it for him and gives it to him. The other one, he gives them all. And then when they get back, before they go back to their families, he distributed the money, the original money that he collected from them, he gave it back to them. So someone say, you're giving me 20, I just bought 10. He said, don't worry, it's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he goes to their houses and he ordered someone to decorate the houses from outside, as the habit of the people who are doing Hajj nowadays, for them, from his pocket money, from his money. Subhanallah. Who does this? He's a very, very generous and righteous man. And he used to spend a lot of money also for the people who seek the knowledge, not just in his city, but in all around the Muslim world. Imam al-Baghdadi said that he used to spend around 100,000 dirham every year, because he was a businessman. Even one of his friends was saying to him, you spend a lot of time in making business and in trading, in making becoming a businessman. He said, if I didn't do that, nobody will be able to spend on those learners who need a lot of money to do that. So he gives them shares of the money. Whatever he earns, he spends it all on the people. So he said, this is better for me. And actually he's right. To be, I wouldn't say even rich, but to be average and have money is better than to go and ask people for money. That's the best thing. So he used to give. When one of his friends blamed, he said, you spend all of your money on those people. He said, you know what? I know some people who really need that money to learn because they have no resources and no money, no income. And I give them this money because if I don't give them that, they will give up seeking the knowledge, and sooner you're not going to find the scholars among you. And those are the ones who are taking care of the knowledge of the Ummah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I don't see anything after prophethood better than the knowledge and spreading the knowledge. See, that's his fiqh, his understanding of this. And subhanallah, not only that, he was a great, courageous man who fights in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They say about him, Sulaiman al-Maruzi, Abd ibn Sulaiman al-Maruzi said, I was with Abdullah ibn Mubarak in one of the wars against the people of Rome, the Romans. Said, before the battle starts, a Roman man came and said, who's going to fight me? So a man who put a mask on his face from the Muslim side went out for him. He fight with him until he killed him. The Muslim man killed the Roman man. Then another Roman guy came. Who's going to fight me? The same Muslim man who was masked, fight him and killed him. A third one come. Who's going to fight me? The Muslim man who was masked, fight him and killed him. So all the Muslim army, Allahu Akbar, and are so happy. And they come rushing to the man to know who's this man, because he's covering his face and he doesn't want to show his identity. He said, I went to him myself. I was the first one to go to him, and I pulled it, and he's pulling it back until I see his face, and it was Abdullah ibn Mubarak. He doesn't want to tell anybody about that. Subhanallah. This great sheikh and great scholar, and he's in the front lines. He's not scared of dying because he knows that the best thing is to die in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even one of his friends, he said after his death, I saw him in my dream. That was Fudail ibn Iyad, the richest man, and the most righteous man at his time, and the best friend of Abdullah ibn Mubarak. He said, I saw him in my dream. I asked him, what is the best deed that you find when you go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, we were doing together. He said, is it fighting in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, yes. He said, what did Allah do with you? He said, He forgave me a forgiveness that no other forgiveness is higher than it. He gave me the higher level of forgiveness. Subhanallah.